Before the truck had a chance to come to a complete stop, Madison had ripped her seatbelt off and turned toward Brian. She pressed both of her hands against the 2 wounds on his chest in the hopes of stemming the flow of blood which seemed to seep in endless supply. "Help." She screamed, though she didn't think anyone would be able to hear her through the thick pain from the driver's side window. His body slumped, and she knew enough about bullet holes and blood loss to know that conscious was better. She pulled one of her hands off his wound, wiped the blood on her clothes, and smacked the side of his face. She didn't use enough force to hurt, but prayed it would be enough to wake him up. "Hey, don't you leave me, Brian. You saved me. Again. I need to thank you." She patted his face a few more times before she screamed for help once more. Hysteria crept up inside her and threatened to shatter the sense of calm she tried desperately to cling to. She'd lived through so many deaths, she knew what to do. She knew how to react, but she refused to watch this man die before her eyes. She threw her head back and yelled toward the heavens. "What good is having an angel for a father and a creature from hell as a mother if I can't get someone to answer me?" She figured her prayer probably hadn't done a lick of good. Madison pressed the horn with her elbow if she could. The sound vibrated through the truck. "Well, this debunks the angels can't get hurt theory I had in my head." She searched his truck for something she could use to soak up and stem the flow of blood. Of course, she'd meet the only man who had an immaculate monster truck. Dirt and big tires just go together. He'd have to learn this if he continued to drive a vehicle like that. A bang on the window caused her breath to catch and her body to jump. Through the window, she saw Kennedy's frantic face as her cousin opened the door.
"Oh my, what happened?"
Kennedy asked. Her face paled at the sight of the blood that covered Madison's hands as well as Brian's chest. "Get those angels out here and fix him," Madison yelled. She didn't want to waste a moment with details. She didn't have to. Behind Kennedy stood the men she prayed could help Brian.
"Back away."
Gabriel said softly to Kennedy. Gabriel moved past her and checked the location of the wounds. His face turned grim as he turned back toward Michael and Uriel. "Don't," Madison hissed. "Don't you dare give up on him." Gabriel turned back and opened his mouth to speak but closed it. He turned Brian gently, enough to get his arms behind him, and began to pull him out of the truck. Uriel met Madison's gaze and spoke as he grabbed Brian's legs.
"We will do everything we can,"
he said, though Madison could tell by the sympathy in his voice that he didn't think they'd be able to save him. With surprising speed and very little jostling, they carted Brian's unconscious body into her house and placed him on the settee in the foyer. His legs were longer than the small seat, but it was enough to hold his body up so Michael could take a closer look. Madison sat at his head and stroked the tendrils of his hair. "Don't listen to any of them. I don't have to read thoughts to know they don't think you can survive this. It's just a few bullet holes. Seriously? Do you want to spend forever without swimming? I can't imagine a worse existence,"
"These aren't bullets."
Michael said. "Of course, they're bullets. I saw the gun they came from." Madison snapped. A well-manicured hand with blood-red paint rested on her shoulder and squeezed it gently.
"He means they aren't bullets like you're used to, my love. An angel wouldn't have been injured by something as mundane as man-made bullets."
Madison looked up from Brian only for a moment to look at her mother. "So, these are what? Supernatural bullets?"
"These break down the earthly body and eat away at the essence of life. We call them life leeches because basically they suck the life right out of you."
Each word hurt as her stomach turned at the news. All her life she would have turned to prayer when her problems became more than she could bear. Somehow, in a room full of angels and one creature from hell, she couldn't seem to find the nerve to talk to God. It took more strength to talk to him now, when she knew without a doubt of his presence, than it ever had when he was an abstract being that she believed in. Not that it would stop her. She leaned over and kissed the top of Brian's head, like her mother had done to her when her dreams had become particularly rough. Then, with her lips still on his skin, she prayed. "I don't know if you can hear me or not, God, but it's me, Madison. I have no idea what a life leech does, but I know you can stop it. I know you can give him more life than can ever be taken by some bullet, no matter what type of being made it. Don't take him. Not like this. Not when he just found out he hadn't done the wrong thing. Please help him." When she lifted her gaze to look at him, her heart broke because everything looked the same. She didn't know why she expected her simple prayer to create a miracle, but she had. "Get them out," Madison said in a low, firm voice.
One has pierced his heart.
Michael began.
He's dying, Madison.
"Get them out." A wave of calm rose up through her body and she knew where it had come from. "Get them out now. I'm not a 2-year-old to be placated." She refused to let an angel tell her how to feel. As soon as Brian survived, she'd tell whichever winged man that had tried to calm her down what she thought of their manipulation. Though, to Michael's credit, he did exactly what she told him to do. Took a thin-looking dagger that seemed to glow a brilliant red but couldn't have been wider than an inch and probed the first hole.
The first bullet went all the way through. This is a clean wound. Hold him still. I'll sear it closed. Even unconscious, he can still react to the pain.
Madison heard something in his voice that gave her a tiny bit of hope. He didn't sound as grim as he had only moments before. Something had given him a reason to believe there was a chance, even if logically it seemed otherwise. The other angels held him down while Michael cauterized the hole. Brian's body jumped and lurched, but they held him firm in place. Then Michael instructed them to turn him over.
These are exit wounds on his chest.
Michael inspected Brian's back. Madison counted 3 holes. She assumed that meant 2 had passed through, and that still left 1 in.
Vivian, I'm going to require your assistance.
Michael said.
I thought you might. Madison, hold him. Talk to him. Bring him to your voice because when I touch him, it's going to hurt far worse than any bullet ever could.
Her mother said in a soft voice. "What? Why?" Madison asked.
Brian is pure, in all ways. His heart, soul, and body are unmarred by life. He hasn't had to deal with the dark forces yet. Let's just say that's a bad combination for a high-powered woman from hell. However, the bullet will come to me when I call it.
Her mother said. It didn't make very much sense to Madison, but if it saved his life, she'd go along with any plan.
Turn him over, gently.
Her mother instructed. Michael cauterized the other wound that the bullet had passed through, and then they turned him over with as little movement as possible. The pool of blood that had already gathered under his body brought fresh tears to Madison's eyes. She tried desperately to cling to the faith that had kept her going so far. "I'm telling you right now, Brian. We're going right back there, as soon as you get better and blowing that place up or something. How dare they seduce us with good food, then shoot at us?" She stroked his hair and the side of his face. Whether it helped him or not, she'd never know, but she calmed down the longer she touched him. Her heart rate slowed down and she didn't feel as panicked as she had before. With a sigh, she realized it was probably another attempt by one of the angels. She opened her mouth to tell them to knock it off, but then Brian's body lurched so hard, his head lifted completely off the settee. Her mother's hand lay near the one hole that hadn't gone all the way through. Her index finger circled the ripped skin, and a black seared welt arose from the path she created. She burned him, just from touching him. Madison tried to move to push her mother out of the way, but found she couldn't move. The harder she tried, the more frustrated she got. She couldn't move her arms, her legs, or anything. "Stop," she yelled. Her body might not be able to move, but her mouth could.
I'm almost done, darling. I promise this is a necessary evil.
Her mother whispered. Madison could hear the pain in her voice and knew it was not an easy task for her either. A black slug rose from the hole. It literally crawled out of his skin and onto the tip of her finger. Madison felt bile rise her throat as the slimy creature continued its journey to the palm of her mother's hand. She held out her other hand, and Michael handed her the blade he'd worked with earlier. Her mother touched the slug with the dagger, and it erupted into flames. Then she handed the dagger back to Michael, and he cauterized the final wound. The wounds were angry and red, puckered at the end, but the blood appeared to have stopped for the time being. Tears flowed down Madison's face as she thought of the pain he must be in, and prayed that he couldn't feel it due to his unconscious state.
His heart is still beating, though it's faint. Keep talking to him, Madison.
Gabriel said. She hadn't heard him at her side, as if she had any intentions of letting him go anywhere. "Fine, but whichever one of you keeps trying to calm me down and stopped me from moving, quit it now. I do not appreciate it." She glared at Michael, who she assumed had done it. He struck her as the type to do what's best for someone whether they deserved it or not. He looked back at her with confusion on his face, and she realized it hadn't been him. Then she went from Uriel to Gabriel to Raphael. All three had mirrored the same look as Michael. She looked at her mother.
Don't look at me, darling. I know better. I'd ask Wingboy here, though.
She said as she looked down at Brian. Madison stared down at Brian's face, and with shock saw his eyes opening. Her breath caught in her throat as she saw his mouth widen to speak. Shh, rest, she said.
Had to not sorry.
He rasped. The relief she felt at his words staggered her. Though she had clung to hope, it masked a fear of doubt.